The disappearance. Relisha Rudd. Relisha Rudd, an 8-year-old girl, disappeared on March 1, 2014, while living in a shelter in Washington, D.C. After she was last seen on surveillance footage with Khalil Tatum, a shelter janitor who subsequently turned into a person of interest, her case attracted attention. Relisha has never been located despite thorough investigations and community efforts, which have led to persistent worries about missing children and the difficulties marginalized communities face. In this video, we will tell you about the disappearance of Relisha Rudd. Number 7. Disappearance. 8-year-old Relisha Rudd vanished from the D.C. General Shelter in Washington, D.C., where she resided with her mother, Shamika Young, on March 1, 2014. Overcrowding and a lack of resources were features of the D.C. General Shelter, a transitional housing facility for homeless families. Financial instability and the psychological effects of living in such an environment were just two of the many difficulties that Relisha's family had to deal with. Relisha was known for her bright personality and love of learning despite these obstacles. She regularly attended school and took part in a variety of activities. The potential risks associated with her living situation caused law enforcement and shelter staff to become extremely concerned when she vanished. The need to find Relisha grew as the days stretched into weeks without any news of her, bringing attention to both her case and the more general problems of child welfare and homelessness in metropolitan areas. Her family's lack of resources and support networks brought to light structural flaws that frequently put vulnerable children in danger. The need to find Relisha grew as the days stretched into weeks without any news of her, bringing attention to both her case and the more general problems of child welfare and homelessness in metropolitan areas. Her family's lack of resources and support networks brought to light structural flaws that frequently put vulnerable children in danger. Number 6. Connection to Khalil Tatum. Just before Relisha vanished, Khalil Tatum, a janitor at the D.C. General Shelter, came to play a major role in her life. Tatum's extensive criminal past, which included numerous arrests for crimes like larceny and burglary, raised serious doubts about his motivations and character. Through gifts and outings, he became friends with Relisha's family, fostering a sense of trust and security that turned out to be misplaced. Tatum was able to contact Relisha and her family thanks to this relationship, which had disastrous results. In an attempt to find information that would clarify Tatum's intentions and actions prior to Relisha's disappearance, investigators closely examined his actions. The dynamics of this relationship serve as an example of how predators can take advantage of weak people, particularly those who live in unstable situations. This emphasizes the need for communities to be more vigilant in ensuring the safety of children. Tatum's ability to become popular in Relisha's life begs serious concerns about the safeguards put in place for kids residing in shelters. Number 5. Last known sighting. Surveillance video showing Relisha Rudd walking hand-in-hand with Khalil Tatum to a Days Inn hotel in Washington, D.C. on March 1, 2014, was the last verified sighting of the actress. This video is significant because it captures her last known interactions and represents the last time she was seen alive. Tatum is seen escorting Relisha into the hotel in the video, where they spent several hours before heading out together. Investigators started assembling the events of that day in order to piece together what happened while they were staying at the hotel, as this sighting immediately raised concerns about her safety. Since this date, there have been no additional sightings or communications, making it more challenging for law enforcement to find her or ascertain what transpired next. The fact that no information has surfaced following this sighting adds to the mystery surrounding her case and emphasizes how critical it is to locate the missing children before time runs out. It also emphasizes the importance of surveillance technology for investigations, but it also poses moral dilemmas regarding privacy and its consequences. Number 4. Delayed reporting. Relisha's disappearance was not reported until March 19th, almost 3 weeks after she was last seen, despite her unusual behavior in February 2014, including skipping classes. There are severe concerns regarding systemic shortcomings in child welfare systems and educational institutions that did not identify or respond to warning signs that something was wrong, given the length of time that this report was delayed. Her absence went unnoticed by teachers and school administrators until it became a serious issue. This oversight demonstrates the lack of communication that exists between organizations that are meant to protect children and families who are facing homelessness. The search for Relisha had taken a significant amount of time by the time authorities were notified, making it more difficult to find her safely. The delayed reporting highlights the need for improved training for educators and social workers to properly identify children at risk and reflects larger societal issues surrounding awareness of child welfare among marginalized communities. Improvements to the systems intended to track attendance and connect with families in need have been brought up by this incident. Number 3. Tatum's death. A few days after Relisha Rudd vanished, on March 20th, Khalil Tatum's wife, Andrea Tatum, was discovered dead in a motel room, a tragic turn of events that followed Relisha's disappearance. This startling finding raised questions about Tatum's involvement in both incidents and led law enforcement to step up their search for him, adding another level of complexity to an already distressing case. Because of his ties to both Andrea and Relisha, Khalil Tatum became a focal point for investigators who were trying to piece together the reasons behind these violent acts, while also collecting evidence connecting him to their cases. But on March 31st, Tatum killed himself in a park with the same gun that was thought to have killed his wife, in order to avoid being apprehended. His passing caused public indignation over how someone with such a troubled past could have been allowed access to vulnerable children like Relisha, and left investigators at a loss for answers regarding Relisha's fate. This terrible result not only made the suffering of those in search of answers worse, but it also brought up important issues regarding the mental health support networks that are accessible to people with criminal records. Number 2. Theories of disappearance. Since Relisha Rudd vanished, investigators have looked into a number of possible explanations for her disappearance. Because of his close relationship to both her and his late wife, Khalil Tatum has been the main focus of suspicion. The general consensus is that he may have hurt or killed her, but early theories stoked by society's concerns about child exploitation in urban areas suggested that, because of his criminal background and connections in that world, he may have sold her into sex trafficking. Law enforcement has mostly ruled out trafficking based on evidence gathered during their investigation, indicating that there were no credible leads supporting this theory at the time or thereafter, despite the fact that some community members and advocates for missing children have given credence to these theories. Both investigators and those fighting for the rights of missing children are plagued by the uncertainty surrounding Relisha's true fate, which highlights how challenging it can be to handle situations involving vulnerable populations where a number of variables raise the risk levels of the parties involved. Number 1. Ongoing search and remembrance. Law enforcement is still looking for information from the public about Relisha Rudd's whereabouts, but no significant leads have surfaced since Tatum's death more than 10 years ago. Through numerous initiatives aimed at raising awareness about missing persons cases and highlighting systemic failures within child protective services that significantly contributed to this tragedy occurring in the first place, community advocates have worked tirelessly to keep her name alive. This is especially important considering the number of similar cases that exist across America today, without a resolution or adequate justice being served, and they are still ongoing today. Annual events like Relisha Rudd Remembrance Day encourage community involvement through volunteerism and serve as moving reminders of her story. The ultimate goal is to prevent tragedies like hers from happening to any future generations. In addition to paying tribute to Relisha, these events emphasize the need of being vigilant in preventing exploitation or harm to vulnerable children, a cause that is particularly important in communities where homelessness, systemic neglect, or both are prevalent. Advocacy groups persist in their endeavors by advocating for legislative modifications targeted at enhancing child welfare systems and raising community consciousness regarding indicators of possible abuse or neglect that may result in catastrophic consequences similar to those encountered here, sadly still occurring far too frequently nowadays. This thorough overview attempts to offer a deeper understanding of every facet surrounding Relisha Rudd's disappearance. If you liked our video, please hit the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel.